we have a brother in our masjid. He's very old. And I think 3 years ago or something like that, the doctor said that you only have 6 months to live. Right? That was 3 years ago. SubhanAllah, after that, he has been coming very regularly to the masjid. He sits in the first row. He has performed umrah after that. And I'm sure many, many examples are like that, right? So don't depend on what people are telling you, what the experts are telling you. Always rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, never lose hope, and keep making dua. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome to our Quranic transformation series. We'll be starting a new surah today, Surah Al-Mulk. And just as a recap, what we're doing here is we are reflecting on Quran or doing tadabbur. We have some starting questions, which will be, what does this verse tells me about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Is there a promise of Allah in this verse? What qualities and what type of people is this verse talking about? And we encourage you to utilize this and make it a regular habit to do it at your homes as well, with two caveats. One, do not say that this is tafsir, that Allah is saying this. We do not want to misrepresent Allah and the meaning of Quran. Use it as a reminder for things that you already know about Islam. Don't utilize it to bring new information into Islam. Okay, with that, welcome and assalamu alaikum Muhammad.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. And another great thing we're going to be doing is we're going to try and make this bite-sized for you, so that maybe you could watch an episode every day, inshallah. We're going to just go over it in a few minutes so that you can get maximum benefit.
Let's do it. Bismillah. Okay. Right. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير. Blessed is the one in whose hands rests all authority, and he is able and most capable of everything. Okay. Let's talk about it, Muhammad. So what comes to you from knowing about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from this verse?
That Allah has all authority, and Allah is most capable of doing anything.
Great. And I think, yes, that let's focus on that. Right? This is really, really beautiful. In terms of anything that we are trying to achieve in life, many times you don't see a way out. The experts have said that they can't do anything about it. But remember that they are talking based on their experience, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is able to do all things. I'd like to share a story. We have a brother in our masjid. He's very old. And I think 3 years ago or something like that, the doctor said that you only have 6 months to live. Right? That was 3 years ago. SubhanAllah, after that, he has been coming very regularly to the masjid. He sits in the first row. He has performed umrah after that. And I'm sure many, many examples are like that, right? So don't depend on what people are telling you, what the experts are telling you. Always rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, never lose hope, and keep making dua. Any story or situation come to your mind about that, Muhammad?
Yeah, I think anything like this is such a huge and empowering verse for us, because sometimes life can seem down and it can seem like there's no hope. But this basically just reminds us that Allah is capable of all things, right? And we should never, ever give up, and we should never lose hope.
Fantastic. Right. There's another thing here, and that is the concept of that Allah is blessed, right? That tabarak, right? And that concept, I think, is really important. Like when we talk about the word blessing, what comes to your mind, Muhammad, about blessings?
For me, mostly it's like the things that Allah's given us that really help us, and that are some things that we need, and just good in our life, really.
Good. Yeah, I think the way I see it as well is from a perspective that, look, 2 + 2 doesn't have to be 4. Right? Now, don't try this in your math class, right? I mean, I know you're gonna have good grades in math, right? but from a practicality perspective, and 2 + 2 can be 22, it can be 44, it can be 222, or 2.2 million, right? So remembering that look, just don't focus on the numbers, the physical elements of things, and this is where people might come in and talk about, oh well, you know what? If I have 10 hours to study, I take 15 minutes or 1 hour for salah. I just have 1 hour less, and I think we mentioned that last time, that look, when you step out and then you go for a coffee cup, you don't think that's going to reduce your productivity. You think that that's actually going to increase your productivity, right? If you have the right coffee. If you're the tea guy, then I don't know about it. But the point being that, look, many times in Islam, or when we are following Islam, something missing, like, what, these guys are doing these financial transactions. I can leverage my money. I can, go for margins. I can do this. I can take mortgage. Or, if I take time for salah, or if I'm stepping away on Friday, I'm losing on my trades and my customer calls. And all this. Remembering that, look, if you're just going to be thinking about the physical elements of things, that's a whole different mindset. But if you realize the fourth dimension, the dimension of divine assistance and blessings, you will take a look at life in a totally different manner.
Inshallah.
Okay, great. So moving on to the next verse there. الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا وهو العزيز الغفور. He's the one who created death and life in order to test which of you is best in deeds, and he is the Almighty, the All-Forgiving. Beautiful. I think this is really, really powerful. We can talk a lot about it, but we'll make sure it's bite-sized. So what comes to your mind about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from this verse?
I think the thing that comes to me is that Allah has created us with a purpose in mind. It's not a case of that we're just here for no reason. Allah is very clearly telling us the reason why we're here and the reason why we're alive and the reason why we're going to die.
Fantastic. And I think this is really, really important, right? And obviously, when we talk about people who are non-Muslims or even Muslims who are asking about, why is there so much pain in this world? I think understanding the situation, the reality of life is very important. So right now, hopefully, both of us are comfortable, comfortable seats, comfortable environment, comfortable temperature, right? But I know if I were to meet you in gym, you won't make me comfortable, will you?
Yeah,
right? So because it's like, man, this is the time to train, right? And work hard.
Yeah.
In this world, Allah never promised that this is like Jannah, right? That you don't have to worry about anything. There's no pain. There's no, hardship. But this life is, as it mentioned, it's a test. It's a training ground. It's a test. It's not a one-time test. So you have opportunity every day, every salah to salah, every day to day, every year to year. You have an opportunity to become better until you wrap up the game of life and your life is ended. So what Allah is telling is that it's a test. So you can train yourself, you can learn, but it's a test. And that's why you would see suffering, you would see pain. And then the question is, what are you going to do about it? But if you make it to Jannah, yes, then that's where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is promising that there is, no pain, essentially. Okay, good. Now, even within that, actually, there's another very interesting thing, right? About the actions. So it's not the quantity, but the quality here, right? Ahsanu amala, right? What kind of, what's the quality of your action, right? The level of your sincerity, your commitment, intentions, and all that, right? So you would, again, simple thing as a simple prayer, two people can pray the same prayer, but the quality of it may be totally different, just like the earth and the sky. So, whatever we are doing, let's also focus on the ihsan, the quality of it, the presence of heart, and so on and so forth. Okay. With that, we also have two other attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that are actually mentioned in the ending. And so what comes to your mind from that, and in terms of, practicality and how someone who understands those attributes would live differently?
Yeah, so it's very interesting, not only the actual names, but also the two names that he brings together. So it says the Almighty and the All-Forgiving. And the Almighty is actually the one who has all power. So that, especially in today's day and age, the person that has absolute power as a human being will most likely abuse that power, right? And they'll do whatever they want, and they'll treat you however they want because they have power over you. Whereas here, it's like Allah has ultimate power over us, but he's reminding us that he's also the forgiving.
Very true. Beautiful. And I think the Almighty, from what it implies to me and how it helps me see the world in a different manner, is connected to the last verse, right, where we said that, okay, Allah is able to do everything. So whatever you have going on in your personal life, in your family life, and then at a community level, at the level of the ummah, yes, we have many problems, but realize that these problems and challenges are not an indication of a'udhu billah, failure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? The question is, what are you going to do about, your own situation, your family situation, your local community, and your international community? That's the question. That's the test. It's not that if Allah wanted, as Allah says in the Quran, that if He wanted, everybody would be a believer, right? And He has already proven that by having angels who do not disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they do exactly what Allah has commanded them to do. And He already has proven that by having Jannah, for example, right, where everything is in order. So that's one thing, right? I mean, never give up hope. Don't think that, A'udhu Billah, Islam is weak, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not protecting Muslims. that was never the case. Even for the Anbiya, that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they had to fight, they had to struggle, they had to be patient, they had to be disciplined, and so on and so forth. And then the second element is, yes, we will have mistakes. Yes, we will have lots of things that we are not doing that are not on par with our plan, but to never lose hope in the mercy and forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the least you can do is to have sincere tawbah and actually ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness with your heart present. So I think with that, this is time up for our episode. Would you like to say anything as a last comment there?
Yeah, I think it just shows that there is a purpose to our life, and we should be working every day to try and fulfill that purpose and do the best deeds, inshallah.
Fantastic. So we'll see you in the next one. Assalamu alaikum.